Hello there, Trevor here from Double Bill Movies. Okay, so the other day you may have seen I mentioned something about Pumpkinhead 4K from Shout Factory and an issue that I found with it. Now, essentially, it's not an issue with the disc. So all of you that have it, it's fine. It works fine. But before I go any further into this video, for those of you who don't know, I used to work in the industry making these discs. So I spent 10 years as a quality control technician. So basically I know the ins and outs of these discs and how they work and what goes into putting them together. So I purchased this like all of you did. So my disc is exactly the same as yours. I'll show it to you. There we go. This is a really nice addition. Unfortunately, I tore the slip as I was getting it out of the packaging. I was being a bit too quick, really, so that's my fault. But if you don't know, you get 4K and Blu-ray. And apart from the bonus features, the content that's on the Blu-ray is exactly the same as what's on the 4K. So the sound will be exactly the same. And the video will be exactly the same, just minus the HDR. So I sat down to watch this, and I got 10 minutes in and I had to turn it off. Basically, I found the sound to be the most awful sound I've ever heard on 4K, and some of the most awful sound I've ever heard from a Blu-ray. Now, as you may have known from the other video, I bought this Lionsgate DVD so I could do some research, do a comparison with the audio. There is 2-channel audio on here, no 5.1 or anything. Now, it would be nice if I could have had the Shout Factory Blu-ray of Pumpkinhead to do a comparison to that, but I don't have that. So I'm just going to go by what I think's happened, basically what I think's happened. So listening to the DVD, I can hear that the sound is quite noisy. It doesn't sound like it's been, the audio doesn't sound like it's been constructed the same way as a lot of other films do, bigger budget films. Where all the dialogue is replaced post-production, because you get so much noise on set that it's hard to record all the dialogue. They do still record the dialogue, because sometimes you get a performance out of an actor and you just have to keep it, and obviously if the set is quiet enough, then you can use that audio. But for the most part, all the dialogue in the movie will be replaced, where the actors will come in, they'll sit in the studio, they'll watch the clips on screen, and there'll be a cue for them to start doing their lines, and they just repeat the lines the same way they did when they acted it. You know, it's not an easy thing to do. That's why some films, when you watch, they don't quite sort of sync up very well, or older films anyway. All the new films, everyone's much more practiced at it and they do a much better job. But this is relatively an old film. I imagine it's not the biggest budget film either. So I think from listening to the DVD that most of the dialogue and everything is captured from the set. Now, to deal with a lot of the noise, especially as they're outside, the wind, there may have been roads nearby, and with traffic on, that's clearly not ideal, but I could be wrong, but I'm just trying to give you examples. The one way to do it would be to sort of, well, nowadays you would use noise gates and things, but that's just not going to work. So back then they may have just captured everything on the overhead boom mic, and that would be all the sounds as well, because what I forgot to mention was that not only is the dialogue replaced, but all the sounds of door closing, footsteps, picking something up, you know, clapping or whatever is all done afterwards. The sound is built up almost from scratch. I don't think that's the case in Pumpkinhead. I think a lot of it is from on-set audio, and so they've had to do what they can to suppress the sounds they don't want in the mix, and this invariably requires compression to squash those sounds that they don't want. Invariably doing that, you squash those sounds, but you bring quiet sounds that should be background, up to the same level. So instead of having a nice dynamic sound, you're basically that. You know, you have no dynamics. Now, watching the DVD, I didn't watch the whole film. I just put on the same clips that I started to watch on the 4K, so I had a better comparison. And on my system, you've seen the size of my front speakers. I also have my subwoofer connected to the front speakers, as well as it being the Pt1 in my surround sound system, which gives my speakers full range. So they're perfectly well capable of coping with whatever's thrown at them. The DVD soundtrack, as I said, did sound noisy, but not as noisy. So I imagine that's how it sounded in the cinema. Now, when it's come to the Blu-ray, and we've got this lovely new DTS HD Master audio codec, what DTS tends to do is take certain frequencies and boost them. And they tend to be more dynamic than Dolby Digital. But I think in this case, this is one of the things that's kind of, to me, messed up the audio. You know, it's boosted the wrong things, and you know, it's just noise. The background ambient hum, which you would barely hear, is so audible that to me it's intrusive, and everything they do sounds noisy, really noisy. If you listen to life around you, and certain circumstances, and when you're outside and the things you hear, you can hear them, but too loud. Another thing, now this is the main thing that I think has happened. When an authoring house gets the assets to put these discs together, so for this instance, you've only got 2 channels of audio, so it's only Dolby Digital, so it was probably delivered that way, so they wouldn't do anything. I'm pretty sure, if I remember rightly, when something like this, something more modern comes in, and for the Blu-ray, because I imagine, I didn't check, but I imagine the Blu-ray has the same DTS HD Master 2.0 and 5.1 audio, that would get encoded as they encode the video for the disc. So it would turn up either as PCM audio, pulse code modulation, or it may have already been encoded in as DTS HD Master and done when the mix was done for that. Now, what happens is you get the 5 channels. So you get your center channel, which is most of your dialogue. You get your left and your right, which is obviously your front, left and right. And then you get your right rear and your left rear. Okay, and I don't know if that's around the right way for you, or but you know what I mean. You get 2 rears, 2 fronts and a center. And then of course you get your subwoofer. That's the Pt1. Now, to make foreign language version of the same film, the only thing you replace is the dialogue. So you would take away the center channel. So you've got all the same audio in these channels and maybe a subwoofer, and then you put the foreign language channel in there, and there you go. You have the same movie but with a different language. So they don't obviously just turn off that channel from the original 5.1 mix. So it's delivered to them. That's the 5.1 mix for the main feature in the original language. To do the foreign language one, there are separate channels. So there'll be another package within another set of channels within the whole package, which will be missing the center channel, and they are called the M and E channels, music and effects. So then that's when you would then place in the center channel of the language that's going to be put on the disc. Now, what the technician has to do when they do this encoding is they have to make sure that these are ticked, checked. If you know, the Americans call it, when they check a box, we tick a box in the UK and whatever. If you don't untick, or if you don't, obviously, say you forget to tick a channel or you accidentally do it, then that channel will be missing. So when it does the encode, you won't get this channel, and you can't put it in afterwards. You have to do the encode all again. But what you have to do is, one, make sure all those are ticked, but you actually have to make sure the other 4.1 channels, or the other 4 channels, are unticked, so they're inactive. Because obviously if they're all ticked, then you're putting twice the amount of channels, 9 channels of audio, where only 6 is supposed to be. And basically it's like trying to squeeze too much through a very small tube. It doesn't work. Some bits will get through first, and then sometimes another bit will get through, and what can happen is the channels, because they're the same, they cancel each other out. But it can also cause quiet sounds because they're there twice to be louder, and then obviously loud sounds that are really loud, there's only so much headroom in the sound stage that can available, and they get pushed down, so they become quieter, and you get a fight going on. Now that is basically, at some point, what I think has happened to the audio for the 5.1 and the 2.0 for this release. And I suspect, like I said, I think the Blu-ray is the same. Now, I looked at other reviews. When I first heard this, I looked at other reviews on YouTube. None of them said that there was anything wrong with the audio, and I don't blame them. I'm, you know, a trained professional. I've done it for 10 years, so I know what to listen for. People, you guys, you know, the general listeners, the general enthusiasts, you may sort of pick something up and think, well, it doesn't quite sound as good as that film, so maybe you just say it doesn't sound very good. But essentially, you won't know that there's something wrong with it. But also, if, you know, for however long, the people who have owned the Blu-ray, say 10 years, right? So for 10 years you've been watching the film, and you're used to it. That's how it sounds to you. That's how Pumpkinhead sounds. So to hear the same audio, because I imagine it's just exactly the same audio ported from the Blu-ray to this 4K, again, you're used to it. If you don't know there's something wrong with it, you're not going to think there's anything wrong with it. So it's a shame, It's not going to get fixed. I don't think I'm not going to contact Shout Factory and they're not going to bow down and go, oh yes, we need to fix that. Yes, you're right, Trev, this is wrong, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to happen. I'm not here to... I wish I could help. I wish I could contact them and say, by the way, this has happened during your encoding session. Someone's missed it, or it needs fixing, and get it fixed, because I now can't watch that film. I will be getting rid of that 4K. Now, yes, I'm saying there's something wrong with the audio, but if thousands of people who've already got it haven't said there's anything wrong with it, then me passing that on to someone else, they're going to love it, they're going to enjoy it, aren't they? Okay, so if you're watching this video and you're thinking, oh, hang on, now I'm going to listen to it and think to myself, oh, no, it doesn't sound very good. I need to get this information out there, because it's bugged the hell out of me that I cannot enjoy this 4K anymore. And, thankfully, the picture on this is absolutely brilliant for a DVD. So it's 576 rather than 480 resolution. I was upscaling it to 1080 on my TV, and it almost looked like a Blu-ray. In fact, it did look exactly like a Blu-ray. So I want to blow it up onto my projector and see how good it looks on there. And, I can sit and listen to this, no problems at all. So, yes, I know that's a bit sort of technical, and if like I said, if thousands of people have bought the film, and hundreds of YouTubers have gone, yes, it's a brilliant 4K and the audio sounds great, then yeah, it sounds great. But to a professional, to me, I think to any sound engineer, if they were listening to it, they would be really struggling to watch it. And it's not the limitations of my sound system. I don't have the best sound system in the world, but I have a very, very good one. And I even took the disc to my father-in-law's house. He has a sound bar. I put it on, and I was there with my wife, my brother-in-law, and his soon-to-be wife. And I asked their honest opinion. I said, tell me what you think of this sound. My future sister-in-law, whatever you want to call it, my brother-in-law's future wife, one of the things she said was, it sounds intrusive. The hum from what's supposed to be the ambience sounded intrusive. I think my brother-in-law said it sounded horrible. And I didn't prompt them. I just put it on. I said, there's something wrong. What do you think? And they didn't like the way it sounded. It did actually sound a little bit easier to listen to through the soundbar. But that's then the limitations of the soundbar. So maybe for you guys, I'm not knocking your setups, because your setups are what you have, what you want, what you like, and what you can afford. But maybe the limitations of those setups help it to sound good. Okay, but I wasn't going to come on here and bash any channels and say they're wrong, because that's not right. You don't do that. Shout Factory may have thought to themselves, look, we released it like that on the Blu-ray, no one complained, so we won't make any changes, we'll just put it out. Or maybe they don't realise that there's something wrong with it. When I was at Sony, I picked up things that other people didn't, and they were genuine issues, because when they went, we went back and looked at those tick boxes, I was right. And so I just had really good ears, and I just understand audio, and not as good as a proper sound engineer. There's still a hell of a lot I don't know, but I know when something's wrong. And sadly, in this case, to me, something is very wrong. But like I said, if you have this in your collection and you've watched it and you didn't have any problems with it, then ignore this video. Ignore me. Don't worry about it. If you're getting this soon, if you've got it on order, don't worry about it. Just put it on and enjoy it. I think you'll be fine. So, you know, if I have put you off getting it, then I'm sorry, but I would like to think someone else might do a box set, because obviously there's more than one Pumpkinhead film. So maybe Lionsgate, who, you know, it's a Lions film, isn't it? So maybe Lionsgate might put out a box set, and they've just allowed Shout Factory to do the 4K because they had the Blu-ray. I don't know. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. I needed to get this out there. It may not be the most clear and concise reason as to why I think there's something wrong with it, but it's pretty technical, and I can't give you any audio demonstrations. Excuse me. It's, you know, it's down to you to maybe purchase yourself, you know, in the UK or Europe, a European DVD, and compare it and see if you can tell the difference. If you can't, then brilliant, you haven't got any problems. And like I said, if you've watched the film and you've not gone, oh, I can't listen to this, and you think it sounds great, then good on you. Keep it in your collection and you can enjoy it. So, like I said, I've done it for 10 years. I know these things, and it's the sort of thing I had to find issues, and so yes, it seems sad that I've come across it again from a very, very reputable studio. They've put so many releases out. I'm starting to get a few of their old Blu-rays. Up here I've got quite a few of their 4Ks. I haven't watched them all yet, so I'm hoping no more have the same problem. Most of the others have sounded great, so that's good. They do know what they're doing. Anyway, so there you go. That's the problem. I hope it made sense, and give us a thumbs up if you got something out of this. Even if you learned something that you didn't know before, please give it a thumbs up. And you know, I've had clearly quite a few subscribers lately, because I'm now over 600 subs, and that's really, really cool. And as one of my subscribers said to me, 1,000 next, so that's the next target, eh? So give us a like, give us some more subscriptions, and get the word out there. And you know, carry on enjoying watching your films. If you have any questions, ask them. I'll do my best to answer them, and I always answer all the comments that I've got in you know. Anyway, before I start mumbling on, take it easy.